Hi everyone, let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to explain what you do to your family and friends and gotten a blank look? Or is fear holding you and your online business back right now? Now, if you answered yes to either of those, you're going to love this month's free newsletter. How do you get a copy? Head on over to writecom.com now. And by the way, if you want to make more money with your online business, you are going to love our coffee bean money making idea inside. So head over to Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com, and you'll find the newsletter waiting for you over there. Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very welcome to today's podcast episode from writecom.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled Nobody Can Relate to Perfect People. Now, looking back at the videos I had recorded the other morning, I was just playing them back and I cringed at how old I looked in the videos. You know, the lines around my eyes, my face was still all puffy after waking up. I might have been awake, but it looked like my face needed at least another 2 cups of coffee before it woken up. And for a while I hovered my finger over the delete button. I was just on the verge of deleting it all and then maybe try and maybe record them later on when my face looked a lot better, maybe when I had better lighting and maybe when I had maybe a perfect filter on my phone. I would do the videos then. And have you ever been there, you know, when you look back at something maybe that you have, you know, written or said or recorded, and you just think to yourself, it's not good enough. You know, maybe the language in the written piece you've done, it doesn't sound great. Or maybe you look like me, who looked like they have been slapped by the ugly fairy. Or maybe the pitch in your voice is all over the place. And you're thinking to yourself, if I put this out right now, I am going to stand out like a sore thumb. Because everyone on the internet is perfectly lit. They are proofread to an inch of their life, and they've all got the voice of angels. And, you know, in those moments when our first thought is delete everything and start from scratch again, sometimes we say to ourselves, well, should I even bother? Should I even do this? Because I'm not good enough. But do you ever notice that sometimes some things that really move us, maybe some video or some piece of content is just raw footage? Or maybe you read maybe a short story or maybe a text message, a tweet or something like that. And even though the English isn't the best, you know, there is a great message behind it. And it's a powerful message, just kind of grabs you. And sometimes maybe you may see someone maybe on TikTok or whatever who has maybe a horrible, you know, birthmark on their face, or maybe been burned or disformed or something. And, you know, even though they have those disfigurements, you know, you're just riveted to them. You just can't pull your eyes away from the screen, whatever story they are explaining. And, you know, in a world where it's very easy for us to maybe get some piece of software that has AI that could put maybe a talking head on our website, or, you know, put ourselves through tons of filters, or put ourselves through Photoshop and get ourselves airbrushed, you know, with an inch of our life. But is that doing us any favours? You know, to have a news feed filled with achievement after achievement. You know, anyone who goes on your Instagram feed sees that you always look perfect. You know, you always look $1 million, that you have achieved everything, that you haven't got a bad habit and everything is perfect about your life. Now, although sites like Instagram and places like that may make you believe that, you know, living a life like that is just full of perfections, no mistakes, and that you always look amazing, even though those sites make you think that that is the way it should be, you know, the opposite is truer. You know, the people that we bond to are probably the people who, you know, who had a life that was just a complete car crash, and then for whatever reason they just turned their life around. Or again, a movie star maybe who was just down on their luck and maybe going through a rough stage of where maybe they were on alcohol and drugs or whatever, and suddenly they turn their life around and they're lighting up our screen. Or again, to maybe somebody who is disformed, people who are maybe missing limbs, maybe have an imperfect body. And those people show us, what they can do with a body that isn't as good as ours, where they maybe climb mountains or they run marathons or they swim across the ocean or whatever, even though they don't have as many body parts as we do. Those are the people that kind of make us think for a moment and make us wonder, something. Should I really be kind of putting perfection out there all the time? Should I not maybe, show a little bit more of myself, show my warts and all, that, not every day is a good day. Some days I have bad days. Some days I wake up and the hair is standing up on my head. Some days my teeth aren't as white as everybody in Hollywood. And sometimes maybe I have stretch marks or I have love handles or whatever. But sometimes covering up those things and trying to put on kind of artificial airs and graces doesn't make us, relatable to our audience. And, when you do look at some of those people who are maybe a life coach, or maybe they are someone like a gym bunny, who is always exercising, who is always in perfect shape, who's got a perfect smile, perfect hair and all that, those people seem on a different plane than we are, and sometimes we can't relate to them. And, if you think maybe putting on all these airs and graces is going to make your audience think that you are amazing, sometimes that might actually work against you, because they will feel that you are artificial. They will feel that maybe they can't achieve what you have achieved, and that they are maybe not as good as you, or can't do the things that you can do. So if I was to say anything to you today, is maybe just turn off the ring light maybe on your camera today, and maybe ditch all the filters that you're putting on Instagram, and maybe just talk about some of your failures, some of the mistakes you have made, because basically we're all human, and we humans like other real humans. We don't like the AI photoshopped, filtered version of you that isn't real. We want to know more about you. We want to know your warts and all. We want to know the biggest mistake you made this week. We want to know how you almost messed up your business, or the stupid mistakes that you have recorded on video, falling down or something like that. That's why sometimes when I listen to my podcast episodes, sometimes I know I stutter, sometimes I mumble, sometimes I say the wrong words, and it's very easy for me to go back through this episode here and just kind of get some kind of digital scalpel and cut all those pieces out to record a perfect piece for you today. But I know that's not me. I know if we sat down together on a park bench and you looked at me and you said, this isn't the same person that I listened to in the podcast, because, you don't seem as polished as you do in the podcast. And again, to my videos on TikTok, if I airbrushed everything, if I put on tons of filters, you'd probably walk past me in the street and not even realise it was me, because I'd probably look so much different. So what I did the other day was I just kind of cringed and all as I was feeling. I just said, what the hell, Barry? Just hit publish. Just put the videos out there. The message in the videos was far more important than how I looked in it. And hopefully maybe somebody could look past maybe the bags under my eyes, or how my hair was standing up on my head that day. Hopefully they could look beyond that and see, something, there's a real human being there who is trying to do his best, who is trying to make a difference, and hopefully maybe I help somebody. So, as I said, even though we think that perfection is the way to go, a lot of us can't relate to those people at all. And sometimes maybe the people who you are trying to make a difference in lives, maybe they're not connecting to you as well, because you're not being vulnerable with them. You're not showing them at your worst, because you feel that if you show them, your worst days, that they are going to, maybe not be impressed by you so much, or maybe just follow someone else who is impressive. But the people that I have found, the most enjoyable to be around are the people who are just kind of warts and all, who talk about the mistakes, who don't put a ton of filters on, and are basically just themselves. Because as I said, real humans, need to connect to real humans. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Rightcome.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.